I'm Jatin with the firm ground from Verito. Last episode, we walked through the WISP, the Written Information Security Plan the IRS requires you to have. One of the 7 elements was safeguards, specifically the Security 6. We covered MFA 2 episodes ago, but today we pick up the next one, backups. And I know what you're thinking. I have backups, I'm good. Here's the catch though. I've talked to a lot of firms who said the exact same sentence, and when ransomware hit, their backups were either gone, encrypted, or hadn't been tested in months. So let's make sure yours actually work. Here's a stat that should make you uncomfortable. According to Veeam's 2024 Ransomware Trends Report, attackers targeted backup systems in 96% of ransomware incidents. Not the main servers, not the email, the backups. Because attackers know exactly what they're doing. And if they can destroy your backups before they encrypt your files, you have no choice but to pay. And here's the part that should really concern you. Of those targeted backup systems, 76% were successfully compromised. 3 out of 4. The firm thought they had a safety net. They went to use it, and it was already gone. Sophos publishes a separate report every year, and their 2025 data tells the same story from the other side. Only 54% of organizations that recovered from ransomware used their backups to do it. That's the lowest rate in 6 years. The rest, they paid the ransom. Nearly half of all victims, 49%, paid to get their data back. Let me put a face on that for a second. There's a CPA firm, 2 offices, both hit separately with ransomware. The attackers demanded $300,000 per site. And the reason they couldn't just restore from backup? Their backups were on the same network that got encrypted. And the ransomware didn't just lock the production files, it locked the backup files too, because they were all in the same place. That's the mistake, and it's the one I see most often. Let's talk about how to fix it. The gold standard for backup strategy is the 3-2-1 rule. Peter Krogh wrote it down in the mid-2000s. It's simple enough to remember in one sentence. 3 copies of your data, 2 different types of storage, and 1 copy offsite. Let me break that down. 3 copies. That's your original plus 2 backups. Not 1, 2. Because if your original fails and your only backup fails or gets encrypted, you've got nothing. 2 backups means you can lose one and still walk away with your data. 2 different types of storage. Your backups can't all live on the same kind of media. If your files are on your office server and your backup is on another hard drive plugged into the same server, that's one type. Both are local disk, both sit on the same network, both go down together. Your second backup has to be on something different. A cloud backup service, an external drive you disconnect and store offsite, a hosted backup with the provider. It could be anything. 1 copy offsite. At least 1 backup copy has to be physically somewhere else. Not in the same building, not on the same network. If a fire, a flood, or ransomware takes out your office, the offsite copy is what survives. And here's the addition that's come out of the last few ransomware heavy years. That offsite copy should be air-gapped or immutable. Air-gap means it's not connected to your network. Immutable means once the data is written, it cannot be changed or deleted. Not by an administrator, not by a ransomware, not by anybody. That's what keeps the attacker from reaching your last line of defense. Now I have to address the biggest misconception I run into. I hear this constantly. Jatin, we are backed up, everything's on Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive. That's not a backup, that's a sync. The difference matters more than people realize. Here's what happens with a sync service. You have a file on your computer, Dropbox syncs it to the cloud, great. But when ransomware encrypts that file on your computer, what does Dropbox do? It syncs the encrypted file to the cloud, and now your cloud copy is encrypted too. The sync service is doing exactly what it's designed to do. Keep your local files and your cloud files identical. It doesn't know the difference between you editing a spreadsheet and ransomware encrypting it. It just syncs the change. Now, some of these services have version history. Dropbox keeps deleted files for 30 days on free accounts, 180 days on paid, and similarly, Google Drive keeps 100 version over 30 days. In some cases, you can roll back to a clean version. But here's the problem. If you have thousands of files, rolling them back one by one through a version history menu isn't a recovery plan. And if the ransomware sat dormant for weeks before it activated, which is pretty common, your version history might not go back for enough to matter. A real backup is a separate system running on a separate schedule, storing copies your production environment can't reach in to modify, and sync keeps your files current. Backup keeps your files safe. You need both. Let's say you've got a real backup in place. 3 copies, 2 media types, 1 offsite. You're ahead of most of the firms in the country. One more question, and answer it honestly. When was the last time you tested a restore? Not when was the last time you confirmed the backup ran. The backup running and the backup working are 2 different things. I mean, when did you last pick up a file or a whole system and actually restore it from backup to confirm the data was there, it was complete, and it was usable? If you're drawing a blank, you're not alone. Research from Unitrend show that just 61% of restore attempts meet the desired outcome. 4 in 10 fail the data is actually needed, and only 15% of businesses test their backups daily. 7% of organizations run no backup testing at all. If you've watched episode 5, you'll remember this. Element 4 of your WISP is testing your safeguards, and backup restoration is the single most important test on that list. The FTC Safeguards rule expects you to verify that your controls work, not just assume they do. A quarterly backup test. Pick a file, restore it, confirm it's intact, takes 15 minutes and gives you documented proof that your recovery plan is real. Here's a simple one you can run this week. Pick a client file from last tax season, restore it from your actual backup, not from your sync service, from your backup. Open it, confirm the data is there, write down the date, the file you restored, and whether it worked. Put that piece of paper in your evidence binder next to your WISP. That's it. That's a compliant backup test. Rare-space firms get this handled automatically. Your data is backed up daily to encrypted offsite storage that's separate from your production environment. If ransomware hits your hosted desktop, the backup is untouched. It's not on the same network, it's not accessible from your session, and we test restores on a regular cadence, so we can show you and your auditor that the backups actually work. If you're not a hosted firm, and you want help setting up a 3-to-1 compliant backup, our VeriGuard Managed IT team can do that. We'll assess what you have, identify the gaps, and get you a setup that meets both IRS and FTC requirements. Here's your one thing this week, same as last time, just one. Test a backup restore. Not tomorrow, not next week, this week. Pick one file, restore it from your backup, your real backup, not Dropbox. Open it, confirm the data is intact, write down what happened. If it works, great. You have now documented proof that your backup is functional. Drop the note in your compliance folder. If it doesn't work, and for a lot of firms, this is the moment they find out, then you know exactly what needs to get fixed. And you found out on your schedule, not during a crisis at 2 a.m. And while you're at it, ask yourself the 3-2-1 question. Do I have 3 copies? Are they on different types of storage? Is one of them offsite and not connected to my network? If you can't say yes to all 3, that's your second action item. Next week, we go deeper on the regulation that ties everything together, the FTC Safeguards rule. Most tax preparers don't realize the FTC classifies them as financial institutions, and that comes with a very specific set of requirements and some very specific penalties. We'll cover all 9 elements, the penalty math, and exactly what the FTC expects if something goes wrong. That's next Tuesday. I'm Jatin. This is Firm Ground from Verito. Stay safe and stay blessed.